know, just because it's raining doesn't mean there ain't no sunshine. So. Good morning, everyone. Yatahe and oikui. That's how's it going, and welcome. As you know, I'm Donna Landry Railing, and I'm a citizen of the Norelmuk Wintu Nation out of Trinity County. Out of Trinity County, in the Weaverville, Hayfork, Hyampom area. And I'm actually a citizen of the band of the Hyampom Band of Wintu Indians, among other things. And we've been acknowledging the Wiyot peoples. All of the land from south of Riadale to a little bit north of McKinleyville is unceded Wiyot land. Unceded meaning they didn't give it up, it just got taken, basically. Yeah. So as we gather, we honor the lands and the peoples that came before us. We acknowledge the land on which we gather. This land also is Wiyot. The Wiyot name for Eureka is Turi Chichi, meaning where you sit and rest. As this piece of land, the Eureka area is the land between South Bay, which in the Wiyot language is Wichi, and where the Wiyot people en route via canoe to the Mad River, they would stop and rest there. In the Norelmuk language, I offered this prayer. It's Wintu, and I just got a suggestion this morning from Dave that perhaps we could get this put on a slide so you could learn some of the pronunciations and follow along with me and participate. Typically, we pray with hands up, looking up, and we always stand, but you do not have to stand unless you wish to. And we begin. Olabus is the Wintu name for creator. Olabus ka'achepet. Yochi'i nichi is calling. Niabida, hear my prayers. Sawal ka'achepet. Wida bia, humbly. Olabus kawal ka'achepet. Your children are calling. We are calling. Hear our prayers, Spirit Giver. All your children seek renewal. The sky people, the water people, the land people, and all your creations. Renew our spirit, all of us. Ka'achepet, make us whole again. We honor the Wiyot peoples, all my relations. Hope. Hi, I'm Donna Landry. Scott makes us do these weird things because he was trained that way, and I think it's a good thing. I'm sending out a choir call today. We are going to do our Easter music. We're starting today right after service. If you didn't get my email with the actual song on it, it's a song that I wrote. It's one of those, so it's going to be fun. So if you're interested in joining choir immediately after service, we're going to at least do a quick run through. We will only be 15 minutes or so. So if you have other things that you need to do, and many of us do, if you could just take the first 10 minutes and familiarize yourself, then we will get things rolling. And we'll be rehearsing for the next 3 Sundays. Today, Sunday number 1, after service for our Easter, which is April 9th. It's like zooming right up on us. Thank you.
Thank you. Don't leave the podium until Scott gets there.
I have created a monster. Thank you. All righty, welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living. I'm Scott. I will be doing the announcements this morning. So let's see what we have on the screen. We have just had Donna, so I don't need to announce Donna, who was here twice. Let's put the opening affirmation, and when we say this, let's say it with enthusiasm and with heartfelt meaning. When you say something, words matter, as we all well know. So let's say it and really feel it, and we'll say the first part together, and then find somebody else and actually give them that energy, and really embrace them with your eyes for a moment. So together we will say, we are a welcoming community where the vibration of love lifts us, the wisdom of the ages inspires us, and the science of mind teaching empowers us. I honor the path that brought you here this morning. The old disc jockey in me, every time we do that first part about the vibration of a love lifts us, wasn't there some old Joe Cocker song to that effect? Love lifts us up where we belong. Yeah. Jennifer Warren and Joe Cocker. There we go. Together we will sing. All right, no, we won't do that. Let's take a look at our weekly schedule. That we will do. The weekly schedule has everything for the week, hence the clever name of weekly schedule. There's nothing going on Friday, but every other day there is. Oh, this is interesting. Is this the first time I've noticed this? Pride pancake breakfast on Saturday. So that looks like fun, as do a lot of the other things. The Essential Earnest Homes class, we started that this week. Great discussion right out of the gate. It's going to be a lot of fun for those of us who are in it. For those of you who are not in it, what the hell's the matter with you? Why didn't you join? Now, that out of the way. Speaking of fun and healthy things, yoga with Kathy, who is in the class. Looking forward to getting to know her better. Kathy will do that Mondays and Thursdays from 11 to noon, including, I guess, tomorrow is the first day of spring, I was told. So spring into yoga. I can't believe it's already getting here. Our bookstore. It does exist. It's in the other room, including T-shirts and other goodies. The Namaste T-shirts are $10 each. But if you need any help with any of those in the other room, Michelle is there to help you, and I forget who else can help. But please support our local bookstore. It does help support the center. Speaking of support, the little pantry is outside. It supports our community. We do a great job of providing goods and food for the local community. Please bring what you can, non-perishable. You can also bring it by Mondays from noon to 4 when Walk and All will fill our little pantry for us. And I think that's it for the announcements right now. Oh, I do want to thank you, Gail, who came up to me. If you'd like to help out in the service, I'm not really handling the kitchen area, but I seem to be the default greeter, and I love it. It is one of the best jobs you can possibly do. We're looking for other people who would like to greet, who would like to take the money, what do you call them? The things, the money things? The coffers?
Offering.
Oh, hi, I'm a money coffer. The offering, pass those around. The more people who are involved in this, the better this feels like community. And I've had a few people approach me and say, how can I help? And I would be glad to take your name on it too. Kitchen stuff, you deal with Walk and All. But for the stuff in here, I'll be glad to help organize that. So let's take a look at our theme for the month as we continue on into March for the third week I think we're in. And it is Cultivating Authenticity. Our contemplative meditation will be led by Susan Heese with music by Jackson. You know I will not leave this platform until you're up here. Keep talking? Okay. Yeah, there we go. That's fine. I will just bask in the glory of the light. There it is, right there. Thank you.
Excused. Good morning, and welcome to all those on Zoom who I can't see, but I know you're there. Today's reading is from Mark Nepo, and it's from a chapter called The Courage Not to Waste Our Gifts. So it's a paragraph long, so I invite you to settle into your chairs. If you're comfortable, you can close your eyes, take these words in. Following the reading, there'll be a minute of silence, and then Jackson will lead us into the invocation. So. Each of us is born a heart's length from everything that ever lived, and from everything yet to be. Every being on earth is created to be a conduit between the universal life force and the moment coming alive. Being such a conduit is our birthright. When the gift of life moves through us, we are enlivened to be completely who we are. Whatever form it takes, being completely who we are fulfills us and makes us an instrument of spirit in the world. Inhabiting our gift and giving it freely is how spirit renews the world, like a lightning rod. It's through our authenticity that the creative force of life informs and grounds the world. It's opening our heart to the whole of life, while living in the particular rush of life before us that makes our gifts shimmer and show themselves. And today we come together to celebrate the sweet spirit that is within each of us. And as we let that light shine forth, as we live our authentic lives, our authentic selves, which is godlike, we allow others to let their light shine and their gifts to flow forward. We are lights, we are guides, we are spirits. And I am so grateful to be here today, to be here with all people, our community in here, on Zoom, and at large. I know that as we let our light shine, as we allow others to let their light shine without judgment, without any condemnation, knowing that behind it all is the light of spirit, the universal light of love and life. And so I just simply let this light shine. I see it in each of us, and I do my part to burnish the flame. And so I simply let this service unfold in its right and perfect way, and so it is.
Sweet Holy Spirit, sweet Heavenly Dove, stay right here with us, filling us with your love.
Thank you, Jackson. And now I welcome Angelica, Reverend Angelica, to the podium.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning to you. Good morning to the Zoom people. I'm really grateful to be here. All this week I have not been feeling good at all. And yesterday I woke up and I was like, oh boy, I'm better. Still felt a little weak. Today I woke up, I had the weirdest wake-up experience though this morning. I was having a dream that I was driving my car, and I don't know where I was going, but I had decided to turn into this parking lot where there was some big supermarket, you know, like, not like, you know, a market, but one of those 7-Eleven kind of places, you know, and it was really big. And as I'm driving down the highway, all of a sudden this light starts going, you know, blinking on my dashboard, and it starts beeping, and I'm trying to figure out what in the heck is that? I couldn't figure it out. And I turned into this parking lot and ended up driving over some rocks, which woke me up. Now, I don't use an alarm to get up. But I rolled over and I looked at the clock and I thought, oh, the universe was telling me, wake up. It's time to get up. I've been sleeping late this past week, so that was good. But I thought, wow, isn't that an interesting way to have that happen in a dream? Because even when I got in my car this morning, what is down in that corner? There's nothing in that corner to beep or to flash like that. So it was like the universe giving me an alarm. Wake up, wake up, wake up. I just love this teaching and this awareness that, you know, we are supported 100% by the universe, no matter what, even through our dreams, etc. So we've been talking about cultivating authenticity, and today I want to talk to you about building bridges. Now we're going to work off this science mind point of view. The purpose of life is to express itself. And as spiritual beings, we are individualizations of source. That's with a capital S, so you know that means the one. We are individualizations of source with our unique intentions, desires, and boundaries. And so that brought me into thinking about this idea of boundaries. And what I realized is that boundaries are really important, right? Boundaries are really important for us. And we have them in many different areas. We have them physically, mentally, emotionally, energetically, and materially. You know, sometimes people might wonder why I have two chairs when I sit over there. It's like one chair is for my stuff and one chair is for me. But the truth of it is, it's about energy. I don't want to be really close to anybody's energy before I start talking. So, you know, we have energetic boundaries. And then I thought about some of the boundaries that we set up when we were children. Like I set up quite a few boundaries when I was children, even though in my family, none of my boundaries were paid attention to. You basically weren't allowed to have any boundaries. But I knew every time something specific would happen, I would be saying to myself, when I get out of this house, I'm going to, you know, and it would be building a boundary. And one of the things that I knew is that, or have discovered as I've grown up and been doing this work called the Science Mind, is that some of those boundaries are no longer necessary. In fact, some of those boundaries wouldn't let me trust people. Some of those boundaries caused me to be afraid of certain people. Some of those boundaries, well, the truth is, all of those boundaries had turned into walls. And I wonder, if you stop and think for a moment, how many walls do you still have? Walls keep us separate, keep people out. So what I really want to focus this morning is that perhaps when we're going through something and we feel like we should establish a boundary or build a wall or erect a fence even, that we could perhaps consider building a bridge. Bridges take just as much work as walls, but they allow us to participate in life in a much different way. Behind the wall, well, you know what just flashed through my mind was a dream that I used to have when I was really little. And I had this dream over and over and over again. It was like I was in a stone tower. And there were no windows, there was no, it was really tall. I could barely see the ceiling, and I could barely, even, as a little kid, reach my arms out and still have any room. It was just this tower. And in the dream, which always became a nightmare, these daggers would come in through the stone toward me, and then I'd wake up. Funny thing to think about after all those years. Haven't had that dream in forever, thank God. But if you think about this for a moment, those walls that we've built around ourselves to protect ourselves from whatever are not always impenetrable. They can be penetrated by a sharp phrase or turn of speech. They can be penetrated by a look sometimes. Remember our parents? Our parents always had the look, didn't they? And you just knew, oh no, I'm in trouble. Again, I'm going to say that if it takes as much work to build a bridge as it does a wall, so the next time you find yourself shutting down, or perhaps trying to avoid a challenge in your life, look for ways to build a bridge instead of a wall. And so I have a few ideas, of course. Number one, here's my first one: swallow your pride. For me, there's been a place in my life where I feel like I know it all, right? And so I have to stop acting like I know it all. Stop acting like I'm the only one that's right in the situation. If I'm doing that, that makes the other person pretend that they are the ones that know exactly what's right, or that they know it all, and you have an instant wall. So if we're in the middle of something, I've discovered if I say, I might be wrong, the other person often says, I might be wrong. And you've built an instant bridge. You've opened the door to communication. Psychologist Dr. Bev Smallwood says, put the focus on what is right, not who is right. What is right, not who is right. Look for truth in all points of view and work together to find a solution that works for everyone. Sometimes that's difficult for me. I know that I know what I know. And I want to fight for that. But to be able to stop and step back and take a breath, that takes not only humility, but the ability to cultivate our authenticity, which we're focusing on this month. It takes a big person or something within us that's more loving and kind and compassionate to say, I might be wrong, even if you think you're right. So it takes humility and authenticity to swallow our pride and allow somebody else to have their rightness. My second one is to be the one that makes the first move. Do you know, I think we sometimes carry around a little tablet in our pocket, our internal pocket. And on this tablet is something that says, I called, they didn't call back. Or I tried to communicate, they didn't call back. Or I said a certain thing and they didn't respond. And we keep this tally. And you know what? It's time to stop keeping track of what the score is or whose turn it is. So what if you called a bunch of times and they didn't call you back? So what? The truth is that if you want to maintain your relationship with a certain person or friend or organization or whatever, keep on calling, keep on emailing, whatever. Be the one who continues to take the first step. What I've discovered in my life is that if I don't make the first move, there's rarely a chance to make a second move. So what I figured is that I can either complain and gripe and all of that about the way things are, or I can deal with the way they are, or I can deal with the way they are. I'd rather just be the one that deals instead of complains all the time. I've done enough complaining over my life. And so I will definitely make the first move, the second move, the third move, whatever is needed to accomplish my goals. Or I let it go. So I found this story. It's like the one young man who had quarreled with his parents and left home in anger. After some years of partying and living his life the way he wanted, he boarded a train and headed for home. As the train neared his farm, the young man told his seatmate that he had written a letter to his parents asking for their forgiveness and begging them to take him back. He was trying to make the first move towards reconciliation. He told his seatmate that he had asked his parents for a sign. If they wanted him back, they were to tie a white rag to an old elm tree in the backyard that he would be able to see as the train went by their house. But he told his seatmate, I can't look, I'm afraid. Please look for me. And as they rounded the bend, his seatmate peered out the window and exclaimed, look, there's not only one rag, there are hundreds. Every branch is covered. So go ahead and make that first move if the relationship, whatever it might be, is important to you. And you will have built a bridge. My third idea is about listening. One of the best ways to build a bridge and take down a wall and build a bridge is to listen. And listening is sort of a learned art. In our culture, we tend to, we start hearing what the other person's talking about, and we immediately start making up our answers that we're going to respond to. And I've noticed in my own self that sometimes I miss parts of the conversation because I'm busy creating my answer to something they said 5 minutes ago. So listening. So I found a joke. Such was the case of a man whose wife was ill and sent him to the store with a carefully numbered list to get the groceries. He came back shortly, very proud of himself, and proceeded to unpack the grocery bags. He had 1 bag of sugar, 2 dozen eggs, 3 hams, 4 boxes of detergent, 5 boxes of crackers, 6 eggplants, and 7 green peppers. I mean, I could just see that wife writing her list. 1, get eggs. 1, get this. 2, get that. 3, get this, right? He hadn't yet learned how to listen. My fourth idea is to look for something positive in absolutely everyone. I'm not saying that everyone is pleasant. I'm not saying that it's even going to have an effect on that person that you're working with or dealing with. What I am going to say is that bridge builders remember who that person really is. So no matter what kind of relationship I'm having with anyone, my job as a bridge builder is to do what my teacher, Reverend Helen Street, used to say, okay, God, that's a good costume, but I see you in there. My job is to recognize that absolutely everyone and everything is divine. There is nothing that is not sacred. Absolutely nothing. So I found this story that sort of exemplifies all four of these areas. And the areas were, what did I say they were? My mind isn't as bright today as it normally is. Swallow our pride, make the first move, listen, and look for something positive in everyone. So this story is called The Carpenter. Once upon a time, two brothers who lived on adjoining farms fell into conflict. It was the first serious rift in 40 years of farming side by side, sharing machinery and trading labor and goods as needed without a hitch. Then the long collaboration fell apart. It began with a small misunderstanding that kept growing and finally exploded into an exchange of bitter words followed by weeks of silence. During those weeks of silence, one morning there was a knock on John's door. He opened it to find a man with a carpenter's toolbox. I'm looking for a few days of work, he said. Perhaps you would have a few small jobs here and there. Could I help you? Yes, said the older brother. I do have a job for you. Look across the creek at that farm. That's my neighbor. In fact, it's my younger brother. Last week there was a meadow between us, and he took his bulldozer to the river levee. Now there's a creek between us. He may have even done this just to spite me, but I'm going to go one better. See that pile of lumber curing by the barn? I want you to build me a fence, an 8-foot fence, so I won't have to look at his place ever again. The carpenter said, I think I understand the situation. Show me the nails and the post hole digger, and I'll do the job. The older brother had to go into town, so he helped the carpenter get the materials ready, and then he was off for the day. The carpenter worked hard all that day, measuring, sawing, nailing. About sunset, when the farmer returned, the carpenter had just finished his job. The farmer's eyes opened wide, and his jaw dropped. There was no fence at all. It was a bridge, stretching from one side of the creek to the other. It was a fine piece of work, handrails and all, and there was his younger brother coming across, his hand outstretched. His younger brother said, You're quite a man to build this bridge after all I've said and done. The two brothers, when they met in the middle, hugged, and when they turned to see the carpenter hoist his toolbox on his shoulder. No, wait, stay a few more days. I have a lot of other projects for you, said the older brother. I'd love to stay, said the carpenter as he walked away, but I have many more bridges to build. I want you to think about this story this week if you run into any challenges. Allow yourself to see where you're perpetuating the fence or the wall. And allow yourself to be the bigger person. And I know, one of the things I know about being the bigger person is it's not fair. Why do I always have to be the one? Have you ever felt that? Well, Maybe it's because you're the one who knows that who's really standing in front of you is spirit, is divine. And there is a way to move beyond it, whatever it is. So let yourself be a bridge builder this week. And let's say our affirmation for this morning. And let's say this together. As a single crack in the cement provides space for the slab to stabilize, so do the myriad individualized expressions of spirit provide space to breathe in all the variety and fullness to life's expressions. I choose to gather all those singular meanings and trust in the wholeness of the larger slab to light my way. And take a breath. And let's go into treatment. I recognize once again that there is only one life. That life is divine life. And that life is the life I am living right now, that we are all living right now. I remember that phrase, there is no spot where God is not. And so I let that be my clarion call this week as I move through my life. And I speak this word in the first person for each of us to make it easier to embody. And I declare that I am ready to tear down the walls, to allow myself to be a bridge builder. And even if no one crosses the bridges that I build, I still know that I am doing the work, that I am allowing life to be more full. I'm allowing myself to be more of a participant. I'm letting go of the life that I had behind the walls that I created, some that I created as a little child, some that I've created along the way up until now. And I see myself, maybe not breaking down the walls, but seeing those walls be translucent and then just disappearing. And in their place becomes a bridge, a spiritual bridge, a bridge in which I know that who I'm looking at is God, that everything is God. There is nothing but this one amazing spiritual energy that is the source and substance of absolutely everything that there is. And so I rejoice as I allow myself to trust myself, to open up, to be the one that steps forward first, to smile, to acknowledge, to see God in absolutely everyone and everything. And as I do this, life becomes so much more pleasing because I can build bridges where there were once walls. So I let go. I let go and I let the universe move before me, preparing my way. And I declare right now that the divine mind assists me in attaining and maintaining the consciousness of kindness and compassion. And it is a good life, a very good life. And I know this not only in my own particular circle of influence, but I know this for the world at large. I quit building walls thinking I'm not going to listen to that person anymore, or I'm not going to see these things happening anymore. I'm going to put blinders on. The truth is, everyone is divine. And everyone needs our love and compassion. And so I take my place proudly as a change agent in this universe. And I build and walk those bridges with a sense of purpose, knowing that everything I am doing is for the higher good. So with a grateful heart, I release these words into Divine Mind, knowing that they are already so, and so it is. This morning, our musical treat is Donna and Friends. So let's welcome them.
I'm so grateful for these friends, wonderful musicians. On behalf of the Judds, we thank you.
Upon my feet to share with you the last bite of bread I had to eat. I'd swim out to save you in your sea of broken dreams. And all your hopes are sinking. Let me show you what that means. Love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time? I would whisper love so loudly every heart could understand that love and only love can join the tribes of man. I'd give up my heart's desire so that you might see. First step is to realize it all begins with you and me. Love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time? When we stand together, it's our finest hour. We can do anything, anything. Just remember, believe, power. Love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time? Oh, love and only love between your heart and mine. Love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time?
Lovely, thank you. All right, as we move to the closing part of our service, we're going to do our sharing of our gifts. There we go. If I can spit it out, we're going to put it on the screen, what we're going to say. I do need, I know Gail has volunteered, and one other person who would be willing to do the, oh, look at all the hands going up. My goodness, you could all do it as a mass. Okay, Walk and I grabbed it. So.
Before you start that, let's give a hand to Amy for the new decorations.
Oh, wonderful, Amy. Amy's in the back with Edward. So we're glad to see them both. And Edward, we are so surrounding you with love. Yeah. Well, we're surrounding everybody with love, but right at that moment, we're focusing on Edward. Okay, so if we have the offerings, as they're called, a reminder that if you are short on cash, you can donate love. If you are short on love, what's the matter with you? But donate cash. And if you have both, please provide both of them. But together, let us all say, I gratefully give from the fullness of my abundance, knowing my gift blesses this center, all in it and beyond. And so it is. Band, it's yours. Not know is the band originally started out as a kazoo and a washboard, so they've come a long, long way. All right, if we could bring the offering up. All right. I am so grateful for the knowledge that all is divine, all is universal, all is spirit, and all is God, including the offering that is being provided to the center so that it will go forth and do good work for everybody in our community and beyond. I accept this offering on behalf of the center and all of us that are here, knowing that it is improving our world in small steps as well as large steps. And for that, I am very grateful and release that thought into the law of mind, knowing it is already happening. And so it is. Put that up on this. Great job. Okay, we have got I forgot to do the checks made to, but nonetheless, we got this here. The Community Statement of Inclusion, which is up here on the platform. All we need is somebody to stand up here and read it. Now, suddenly all the volunteers disappeared. This is your big chance. All right, Karen. I know you're not used to being up here, so this will help you.
Until she gets there, I will tell you this. When God went to make his first duck,
what was that?
When God went to make his first duck, he said, waterproof that chicken and give him a kazoo.
Don't matter, Justin.
That was random and lovely.
It was poultry in motion.
On that note,
Try and follow that.
our community statement of inclusion, an affirmation. We, the Eureka Centers for Spiritual Living, are a community that celebrates diversity, fosters inclusion, champions inner work, and creates space for brave, vulnerable conversations. We are a community that honors the unique emanation of God that each person embodies and advocate with people for human rights and dignity for all. We are a community that blesses each other, sees sacredness in all of life, remains learners and listeners so that we may grow together and understands that oneness is not sameness. And please say this last line with me. We know our beloved community is revealed more fully when we love each other well. And so it is.
And so it is. If anybody asks you what do we stand for, that's it. Just memorize it and you'll be fine. All right, we're going to, yes, Angelica. Notice I am not leaving the platform. Here we go.
Good boy.
Good boy.
I wanted to make mention, we just sort of slid by the idea that Redwood Pride is doing a pancake breakfast next Saturday. Our center has donated the space for them to do this a couple years before, let's see, PC, pre-COVID. And so we're going to do it again this month. And they make the best breakfasts. So, you know, with everything that has been going on, all of the slander and the hatred that has been presented out there towards people of the LGBTQ plus persuasion, I don't know if it's persuasion, but whatever. I think it would be great if many of us came and supported their breakfast. So next week, Saturday, 10 o'clock, from 10 until noon, it's pancakes and eggs and sausage and, you know, good stuff. Yes?
Surely 10 till noon, they'll be having breakfast while we're in here? Oh, that's Saturday.
Saturday,
I
yeah.
withdraw the question.
Well, you know, that's what they told Catherine a couple weeks ago, but we'll know more tomorrow, and I'll send out a little notice or something. Seems like late, 10 o'clock. To me, it seems like it would be better more. Brunch. Yeah, brunch. That's it. Come and have brunch. Yeah.
You're coming up to take this. All right, we will have done. Taking it with me. No, it's mine. Never leave the lectern.
Mine. All mine.
All right. The song is now on screen. Together we will sing it, if not on key, certainly enthusiastically. So, band, it's up to you.